Hello, everyone. I am the CACRAO facilitator for this virtual college exploration fair that is meant for all North and South Carolina students. So while you're all getting logged in, I just wanted to give you a few updates. Your camera and microphone will be off as a participant. So if you have any questions or concerns throughout the presentation, make sure that you are using the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Once you submit that question in the Q&A box, our presenters will receive it and be able to answer that question for you. If you have any questions later, or maybe want to view the recording of this session later on, it will be available within 1 week on the CACRAO.org website. That is CACRAO.org. And you can also sign up for more sessions using that same link. All right, our presenters can go ahead.
Thank you so much. So today's session is going to be on becoming a competitive nursing applicant. I am going to introduce myself in just a moment along with my colleagues, but we are super excited to be able to share this with you all. Each one of us has some passion around this, and we want to be able to share hopefully some really good information that's going to help you guys as you're moving forward with your pursuit of nursing as a career. So my name is Andre Hill. I am the Associate Director of Transfer Recruitment for UNC Greensboro, located in Greensboro, North Carolina. Nursing has been one of our top programs for many years on the campus. They just recently celebrated their 50th year anniversary. So this is something that is near and dear to my heart, not as a nursing faculty member or an advisor, but really this is a place where I've had a chance to partner with the great folks in our program, and I act as a conduit for students as they're trying to get into nursing. So I try to provide a lot of information on the front end, which then makes them getting into the program a little bit easier. You can see the different program types that are available here on the screen. I am going to tell you quite a bit more about that going forward. So just in short detail, we have the traditional BSN program that is available. We have the diploma nursing program for students who may have completed their nursing credentials outside of the state. There is a uniform articulation agreement for the students who are completing their degrees inside of the state. And they've recently launched a Veterans Access Program. So for students who are military veterans who had some sort of medical experience or training as a part of their military career, we are going to recognize more of that experience towards your credit in gaining your bachelor's degree in nursing. So it's not going to be a complete one-to-one match, but certainly it speeds up the timeline in a very meaningful way to recognize that experience and to not have you start from scratch just because you may not have the college credits to match your real world experience. So I'm super excited you guys are here, and I'll look forward to sharing more with you in just a little bit.
Good morning, my name is Chanel Quick. I'm from North Carolina A&T State University. I'm the Associate Director of Transfer and Diversity Admissions. And at A&T, we have a traditional BSN program. We also have an accelerated BSN program for those who already have a bachelor's degree and then choose to obtain a nursing degree as their second degree. And we also have an RN to BSN degree for those who are at community college and obtain their associate's degree in nursing. And so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, and I would love to put you in contact with someone that is in the nursing department at A&T. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shaniqua Lassiter. I am the Director of Admissions for our School of Professional Studies here at William Peace University. Our RN to BSN program is under our School of Professional Studies, and it's really designed for an accelerated path. So that student that is looking to pursue this program in an evening online format and hybrid, we offer this program to those students. We also are proud partners with some of the largest healthcare providers in North Carolina, UNC Rex Hospital, Wake Med, and UNC Physicians Network. We are also proud to announce that starting in the summer, you will be able to pursue this RN to BSN program fully online, but we also will still have the option for that student who still wants to come to campus 1 night a week. We will still have them be able to pursue that path as well. And so my contact information is listed there at the bottom of the screen. We are doing virtual meetings with students who just want to learn more about any of our programs. If you do want to come to campus, we do have selected times where you can come and visit, and we can set that up just so that we are doing so and following those CDC guidelines. So I look forward to talking with you all more throughout this presentation, and look forward to any questions you have toward the end. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessie Haynes and I am with LenoirRhyne University located in Hickory, North Carolina. I serve as the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admission and I work with all of our transfer and adult students. I've been at LR for about 5 years. I started right after I graduated from LenoirRhyne in 2016. While working there, I completed my master's degree, so I'm a proud LR alum. And then about 1.5 years ago, I moved over to working with our transfer and adult students from historically working with first-year students. So it's been quite the change, but a very welcomed one. I love working with our transfer students and kind of working with those students who know what they're looking for and kind of know what program they want to go into. And nursing is one of those top programs, especially for our transfer students. So I work really closely with all of our nursing applicants as well as our School of Nursing on campus to make sure that we're recruiting the best students for those programs and setting them up for success right from the start. So if you have any questions, we do have a RN to BSN program, then we have the Ribbon program that we partner with local community colleges, and then we have a 4-year BSN nursing program. So any of those options that might be appealing to you, I'm happy to answer any additional questions as well as connect you with a faculty member from the School of Nursing to help guide you through that process as well. Thanks.
And my name is Devaney Hemingway, and I'm one of our assistant directors of admissions here at Queen's University of Charlotte. I work with most of our students whose most recent college or university was in Mecklenburg County, as well as international students. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'll connect you with your specific admissions counselor. At Queen's, we have 2 different types of programs for you to pursue your Bachelor of Science in Nursing. We do have the Accelerated Bachelor of Science in Nursing that allows you to pursue that within a May to May timeframe, so 1 year. And then we have 2 start terms for our traditional BSN track that are in the fall and spring semesters of every year. So if you have any questions, just let us know. And then we have a nursing information session that will be on December 2nd.
Thank you so much. So just as a housekeeping item, you do have a Q&A window, so you can ask us questions as we go, and we are going to field all those questions at the very end. Our hope is that we're going to cover a lot of these for you during the session. And we also want to make sure that you realize that all of our contact information is going to be available for you at the very end of the session. So if you already know that I'm looking at this school or that school and I didn't get a chance to write all the information down, you will have another opportunity to do that later. So with that said, we're going to kick off this presentation. Shaniqua is going to get us started.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hill. So right now you are really just deciding which path you are going to take in pursuing your nursing degree and your nursing career. And so we have listed out the different paths for you. All right, so we've all discussed kind of what those programs look like in regard to what our institutions offer. And so we've kind of compiled them here. So you have the RN to BSN path. You have your traditional bachelor's of nursing path, you have your accelerated. And so what we kind of mean by that accelerated, and that could be you pursuing the BSN directly, or it could be the RN to BSN. And accelerated just means you are moving through that program faster than the traditional path. So perhaps we're offering classes, fall, spring, and summer, and you're taking advantage of really kind of getting through those classes a lot faster. And then we also have the alternate entry, which are our diploma nurses, and, kind of going through that path through being a veteran. And so we wanted to kind of list out all of these paths because each of us do have a path for you. And so contacting us, and as Mr. Hills mentioned, our contact information there at the end will allow you to connect with us on an individual basis to learn a little bit more about what we offer and making sure that you are making the right decision and the right fit for your path. One thing that I also want to mention before we move on is that the national average salary for someone holding a BSN degree is nearly $80,000, okay? So while ZipRecruiter is seeing annual salaries as high as $113,000. So it really depends on the area that you are living in, the employer who you are working with, what your salary looks like. But all in all, working toward a bachelor's degree will advance you tremendously. And so we are hoping that while you are on this presentation and listening to all of the institutions and what we have to offer, that you are making that decision that you want to make this career change to advance yourself. So that is what we are here for today. And again, connecting with us will help move you along in that path. Thank you.
Absolutely. So just kind of diving a little bit more into the 2-year versus 4-year degree options and kind of how that helps you in your career as you're making this decision. We understand that this is a decision, but it's also an investment. So kind of the reasoning behind that investment and what the decision is that you're making. So community college program benefits. First off, that's a cost saving. So a lot of times you can attend a community college and get the 2-year degree for much, much cheaper than attending a 4-year, especially a smaller private 4-year institution. Time savings and faster track to work. So that also gets you through the program faster and into the workforce. So for students that, don't want to spend that much time in school, for students that have, families and things at home and they need kind of to get on that fast track to be employed, that's definitely a great option. Tuition assistance, as well as articulation agreements and fast track for granted admission. So I think each institution is going to say that they do this a little bit differently, and that is common practice. However, just kind of umbrella, sometimes your community colleges are going to have agreements in place with local or non-local 4-year institutions to make it a seamless and smooth transition for their students to go from a community college into that 4-year institution. So that might be that there's just a set of requirements that are agreed upon by both parties, that if students meet those, they're guaranteed admission, they're guaranteed transferable credits, and then they start at a certain point in the nursing program at that next institution. However, your 4-year campus benefits are going to provide you with industry advancements. So the BSN degree is becoming quite the norm. So the 2-year degree is kind of going away necessarily in terms of the value of it to your employers, as healthcare as a whole is growing, is moving and being transformative. The BSN degree is slowly kind of moving up the ladder and becoming that standard. You have higher salary potential, as Shaniqua mentioned. You have the average salary of about $80,000 for a BSN degree, and that's an excellent opportunity to advance yourself. Access to supervisory roles. So sometimes when you get that BSN degree, it makes you marketable to these programs or to hospitals or practices that will allow you to be in a supervisory role, management, anything, which looks excellent on a resume as you seek to improve yourself and advance in your career, having those leadership roles and supervisory experience experience, as well as additional exposure at the clinical level. So your 4-year programs have a high hour requirement and very intensive clinical training. And for a lot of students, that makes them feel much more confident being in a real setting, as well as it provides you exposure to a variety of different areas. You might have an additional experience in pediatrics and you think that's really what you want to do, and you find out that might not be it, and that's okay. So just that additional exposure kind of helps you pick and choose what path you're going to take down the road.
Okay, so if you have your pen and paper ready, or you're going to do a screenshot, or anything you're going to do to capture this info, this is the time and opportunity to really kind of boil down to what am I going to need if I'm going to be a competitive applicant at one of these different schools. This is the list that we agreed upon as we reviewed and researched with our individual campuses. So as you're looking at other schools around the state, your mileage may vary, but we feel like this is going to cover most of the common pieces that students are going to need. So I'm going to move through these pieces relatively quickly, but I will try to give context as best I can for each one of these tips. So the basic courses that you're going to need, the A&P 1 and 2 is anatomy and physiology. So if you've got those two courses in a 1 and 2 situation, or in some cases, schools may offer anatomy and then physiology, a combination of those two courses is going to be necessary. General psych and developmental psych are also going to be important. The general psych piece, I think it covers kind of the idea that, you know, you really want to know kind of in the broad sense what people are dealing with. You know, when you are dealing with people as a nurse, are they well? Are they ill? Are their family members ill? How does that affect their state of mind? And how might that affect the choices that they may be making? The developmental psych, of course, is going to then cover young children and you know, how their psyche may be different than dealing with adults. Looking at the numbers with statistics, of course, nutrition, thinking about how what we take in will affect how our body may grow and evolve and react and things of that nature. So we want to keep that in mind as well. Sociology is also going to be important, thinking about what is going on inside of that family unit, you know, what is going on in their community and how that may affect their health choices and how you may interact with them in a clinical setting, in a hospital, or things of that nature. Chemistry and microbiology I'll pair those two together as far as, again, the science pieces of understanding all of the medicines and things like that that you'll be working with. And the public speaking piece, which I think can be overlooked in some cases. As a nurse, you are very much going to be a conduit. You are going to be the person who probably spends more time with your patients than your doctor will. So being able to collect information from your patients and then being able to confidently pass that information on to your doctor that you may be paired with, and then being able to take information from the doctor and then being able to pass that back to the family in a way that's going to make sense. It seems like a very small detail, but it can be very important as you are trying to get all the information that the family needs and that the doctor may need to make sure that a good outcome is going to be had on all sides. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, you'll want to check in with your individual campus. There may be other specific courses they want you to have, but this should be a very good starting list for any school around the state or around your state. Some of the schools have had requirements around nursing entrance exams. So you have the HESI test, the TEAS test, and schools are going to vary as far as what the required score is going to be. In my research and in my talking with our School of Nursing at UNC Greensboro, they are pretty open in telling you what that score is going to be. So this is not meant to be more difficult than what it already is. They are typically going to be very straightforward because this is not a them versus you. This is not the 1980s, you got to struggle and strive to get into school type of thing. This is really a partnership where they want to give you all the information that you need, and then you will then strive to meet those requirements, and they want to get you into their programs. CNA licensure has varied. Some schools do require it. Some schools say it's an option. It may benefit you in the process. From a personal standpoint, I don't think there's any harm in it, certainly because it's going to give you some experience that you are not going to have without it. So being able to work as a nursing assistant is really going to start you at a level where you can see, you can begin to observe and learn those pieces in the setting that is going to then make you a better candidate and have more knowledge as you move forward in your program. GPA requirements are going to vary as well. I would venture to say that there's Very few schools that are looking at students with less than a 3.0. Our School of Nursing has said that they want you to have B's or better in all of your core nursing requirements. So this list here is very closely aligned with our list. So B's or better will show mastery. But of course, the stronger that GPA, it can only benefit you depending on the school that you may be looking at. For students who are finishing the RN to BSN program, your prerequisites, you will have already met most of these prerequisites and very likely will not need any. I think the common one that I have seen is students may have to pick up that statistics course somewhere before they finish the bachelor's degree. But part of your entry into your BSN program is then going to require you that you've completed the NCLEX exam, the board exam for nurses. So that really that is specifically listed here for our RN to BSN students. And some programs are going to require you to demonstrate your outside activity. So your volunteer hours, observation times, those types of things. So anything that you can do that's going to give you more insight into what is going to make you a stronger nurse, a better nurse, should only help. Just giving you more experience and confirming for you that you are on the pathway that is going to satisfy that desire for you. So if you go into an experience working with families and having to deal with all the things that nurses deal with, people being sick and bodily fluids, and you find out quickly, this may not be the right fit for me, being able to reset your direction early in the process is going to save you a lot of time, a lot of headache, and a lot of money. But if you get into it and you find out, yeah, this is absolutely the thing that I want to do, that certainly should set you directly on your path. The final tip here I'll list for you is that there are some schools out there that will allow you to apply directly to the School of Nursing prior to being admitted to that school. UNCG is one of them. I think some of my colleagues mentioned the same. So if for some students, they don't want to spend the time and the energy collecting transcripts and paying application fees, if I know that I'm not going to get in. And that's an understandable piece. I would not want somebody to come and take an application fee out of my pocket right now and not get anything for it. So reach out to people like us, ask that question. If you want to apply to nursing first, get an answer from them, and then know that you're going to go into the application process knowing that the School of Nursing on that campus has a spot waiting for you. By all means, it certainly is an option. But again, mileage will vary, so be sure to check in with a counselor before you go that route.
All right, general application tips. It's important that you apply early. So the school that you're interested in, make sure that you are aware of their deadlines, because deadlines are different at each school. You want to make sure that you know the difference in admission into the college versus admission into the School of Nursing. So Andre talked about this in the previous slide. With some schools, you have to apply separately to the school and then a separate application for nursing. And then for some schools, you'll just identify your major choices on the admissions application. So make sure that you're aware. Also know your application type. It's very important. For some students, you may be applying as a freshman, and for some, you may be applying as a transfer applicant. So again, make sure that you know the application type for each school. And don't forget about FAFSA and scholarship search. So FAFSA for each year opens on October 1st, and priority consideration is December 1st. So you want to make sure that you're completing your FAFSA application. And also scholarship search for scholarships on your own. And you can also reach out to the financial aid office at the school of your choice to discuss additional scholarship opportunities as well. And as Andre previously stated, you want to make sure that you have a competitive GPA so that you can get into the nursing department. And again, for the most part, schools want you to have at least a 3.0 GPA for nursing. Thank you.
All right, so you've gotten the tips and tricks on kind of things to look out for in the application process. Now let's talk about how we're going to pay for it. So with this, as Chanel mentioned, FAFSA is going to be your first step. That is the free application for federal student aid, where you'll be considered for federal loans, grants, and also need-based aid that could be applied to your financial aid package. Now with this FAFSA, FAFSA, you are going to have to create a FSA ID number and a username and password. And if you're still being claimed on your parents' taxes, they will also need to create a parent username and password for that. My student aid mobile app, the FAFSA is coming up with a mobile app. It won't open until January 2021, but no, that is an option for you to be able to complete it from your mobile device. The most important thing is to make sure you use that IRS data retrieval tool. If there's one number off, you will be pulled and selected for verification. So that is very, very important. And you can use your tax return data from 2019 year, what's called prior year. So it's very feasible option in case you haven't done your taxes for the current school year yet. And what all of this information is used, it's used to make sure we are calculating what's called the EFC, or the expected family contribution. And this is an amount that will is used to basically see how much your family can reasonably contribute towards your education, or how much you as a parent can, or as a adult student can contribute towards your education. Now, there's also going to be what are, I'll kind of break down the federal loans really quick. They're subsidized and unsubsidized, as well as Parent Plus loan. With the subsidized, you are accruing interest while you're in school. The unsubsidized, there's no interest that's being accrued while you're in school. For the Parent Plus loans, let's say you're a dependent of a parent right now, and they can take out a loan either in their name, or choose to elect that it goes out in your name, and let's say they're denied for said loan, that could be additional scholarship or loan money that's put onto your financial aid package, but just get in contact with that financial aid office to know the specifics of that. Now, with the FELS, which is the Forgivable Education Loans for Service, it's going to take some outside research on your part. Really, really make sure that you are doing that. There's things such as the nursing corps. There is, basically these programs will pay off your student loans after you work for them for a certain amount of year. Your first step will probably be to go to CFNC, which is the College Foundation of North Carolina, and really look into those forgivable education loans for service. I believe the first application opens up on December 1st of this year. You'll be able to kind of see the criteria for that. Now we'll talk about some institutional aid and scholarships. It'll vary, the amounts or the amounts for the scholarships across each institution. So that's a great conversation to have with your admissions counselor to kind of get an idea of what institutional aid opportunities as well as scholarship opportunities are available. If you are a student veteran who wants to utilize your military benefits, such as your voc rehab, your GI Bill, all of these different opportunities, your first step will make sure to be that you apply to utilize those loans through the VA. If you need the link to that, let one of us know and we'll be happy to get it over to you. And this will be just a great opportunity. And then most schools will have a specified VA certified official in their financial aid office. So that's a very important step to make sure that you're getting on that early on in the process. And then some employers, if you do work for a hospital and things currently, they will do tuition reimbursement. It is a really cool opportunity with that. You'll need to check with them to see how much they are willing to reimburse you for tuition, how that process works. You'll just get in contact with the HR department at your current place of employment and talk with options on that.
Thank you so much, Devaney. We are going to bring ourselves up to the front screen in a little bit, but we wanted to be sure first that we left our contact information here on the screen, and we're going to field a few of the questions that you guys have shared with us. So I am going to kick us off with the first one, which I think is really good. What should I do if I don't have all the prerequisites completed? Jesse, will you kick us off and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a really excellent question and something that a lot of students run into. So the first thing I recommend doing is reaching out to the institutions that you're interested in and seeing what they recommend doing. I know at LenoirRhyne, we'll offer students to be able to take some classes in the summer before they start or map out their academic plan. Our nursing faculty are phenomenal in doing that and helping a student look at their transcripts and coming up with a plan to get from where you're at now to graduation. You can take those at LR. Sometimes we'll tell you what classes you need to take at a community college, and you can take an extra semester there before you enroll. That decision's really up to you, but I just recommend reaching out to each institution that you're considering and seeing kind of what plan they can assist you in coming up with.
Jesse, thank you so much. I'll open it to the rest of the team. You guys can just unmute and jump in. Any additional tips if a student still has a prerequisite or 2 or 3 or 4 that still needs to be met?
Yeah, so for A&T, our requirement is that you have a 3.0 cumulative GPA. If you have taken biology, chemistry, anatomy, and physiology, you have to have earned a C or higher on the first attempt. So you don't have to have completed those, but if you have to have earned a C or higher. So our only requirement is a 3.0 cumulative GPA.
And I would just add, currently, William Peace only offers the RN to BSN. So majority of those students already have accumulated some of the prereqs that are needed to transfer. But if there are additionals like statistics, I know Mr. Hill mentioned that earlier, that is a requirement of us. We also are looking for public speaking. If you haven't taken those classes, then we definitely offer them to you, and you can start those classes, those prereqs with us, or you have that option to go back to the community college and take those and transfer them in.
Got it. Thank you. We have 2 really good questions that have also come in our Q&A box. The first one, I'm going to start with, let me go to Devaney. I'm going to have you to get us started, and we may all end up chipping in. Is it easier to get into the nursing schools as a transfer applicant or as a student of that university?
So I would say in general, just due to the competitive nature of the nursing program, there's not a yes or no answer to this, if that makes sense. I would say check with the individual institutions to see maybe if they favor like their students who are, currently enrolled at the institution, or most of the time it's not going to have a difference either way. It's just going to be dependent upon that criteria within the admissions process to make sure that you are putting yourself as the most competitive applicant.
Thank you. Let me go to Chanel next. Any difference between your transfer students versus your internal applicants?
No, there's not a difference. It's competitive. So you just want to make sure that you have the necessary GPA.
Thank you. Jesse, how about you?
Yeah, just kind of mirroring what everyone else already implied. We don't look at those applicants necessarily different, but everything, as they mentioned, nursing programs are competitive. And so it's just kind of handled on a case-by-case basis based on, have you done your prereqs? What grades did you get in those? Like Chanel mentioned, you have to have a C or better. I think that's probably, across the board, at least for institutions represented here. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that we look at those differently or favor one over the other.
Thank you. And then Shaniqua, your situation is a bit different, that you've got just the RN to BSN, correct?
I'm sorry, I couldn't find that mute button. Correct. So, our RN to BSN is only offered in our School of Professional Studies, and it is more so for the transfer student. But like all the panelists said, you really need to just, know that this is a competitive field. And so we all are, working to get as many nurses certified and, graduated so that they can move on into their career. So I would think just making sure that you stay on top of your GPA, maintaining a 3.0 or higher, and connecting with the institution in which you're looking to, pursue that path in, so that you're very much aware of what is needed to be accepted.
Thank you. I will chip in my little bit for UNCG with a quick story. About 5 years ago, we had a student that called us and said, hey, I'm applying to the School of Nursing. Where do I send my transcripts? And we looked for an application. We couldn't find one. And we said, well, you've not applied to the university yet. So she says, well, no, I'm applying to the School of Nursing first. And then if I get in, I'm going to apply to you. We went back and forth with her saying, no, that's not the way that you do it. So, finally, in the sense of, we're going to be right and tell this student you're wrong. We called over to the School of Nursing and they said, oh yeah, we're taking applications right now for students, both internal and external to the university. So then it was my job to call that student back with my tail between my legs and say, I was mistaken in the information that I shared with you. Send your transcript here to the School of Nursing. They're going to notify you by April 1 of that year. So then I called the nursing program back and they explained to us that they will allow students to go through that route. So all of that to say, we found out very quickly that that student did end up getting into the program that year and that they have no difference between an internal versus an external applicant. They are very much going to look at the courses. They're going to look at the test results. They're going to look at all of the typical things that they review as a part of that process. And they're going to select the best students, whether they are students who are currently enrolled on our campus or students who are outside of our campus who were able to complete all of the prerequisites. So as everyone else has already said, it definitely is worth your time to reach out and find out, because what many of those students are expressing to us, they don't want to waste their time or their energy or their money if they're going to be applying into programs where they are not going to have a chance to get in. And I think that's a fair point all around. All right, another question for the group. I'm going to start, but I'll read it out for everyone. How has the nursing program changed during the pandemic? Nursing is typically a very hands-on path. How have nursing classes changed during this time? That is an excellent question, and I appreciate you asking that. For us, I think that the one thing that has changed a great bit is they are doing a bit more reliance on their internal nursing labs. So for UNC Greensboro, in our School of Nursing, they have the SCENE lab. It is SCENE. I forget what each of them stands for, but basically they have these standardized model spaces based on what a nursing station would look like, what a hospital room would look like. So it includes simulation man, simulation woman, they have simulation child, they have sim baby, they have the monitors and everything all set up. So while students are still going into the hospitals with their face coverings and doing hand washing and sanitizing, all those things like that, there's also some spaces where students can practice on our campus before going out into those live spaces. So the way they value that is that mistakes can be made with your simulation person and there's no harm. But by students getting that experience, when they do go into a live space, the likelihood of mistakes, of course, is going to be greatly reduced because they will have learned from those pieces on our campus already. So they are continuing to move forward with the clinical hours and being live in hospitals and clinics and everything else. But I think they are relying a bit more on their simulation labs before putting students out into those spaces. So with that, I'll open it up to the rest of the group to share what's happening on you all's campuses.
I'll go next. So at LenoirRhyne, we kind of reacted quickly to the pandemic to see how could we still support our nursing students to make sure that they're getting the experience and exposure that they need to be successful in the workplace down the road, but also keeping their safety in mind and as our first priority. So we moved to a hybrid model this semester. So our classes are a hybrid model. However, our students are back in clinical settings with an increased emphasis on our, in-person or our on-campus labs. So students are able to do what has been known previously as their checkoffs that they used to do on one another. Those are online and in our internal labs using mannequins and things of that nature. So they're not as exposed to one another quite as frequently. However, they are still out in their clinical settings this semester. Most of our students were really excited to get back in their clinical settings. We pulled students out of clinicals towards the end of last semester, just as we had a spike in our area and didn't want to put those students necessarily at risk since most of them were residing on our campus and and keeping all of our students safe. So I think we have handled it in a really great way that's still giving our students exposure. I know a lot of our students were really bummed at the end of last semester because they wanted to be out there. You know, they kind of admitted and were aware that this is what we're signing up for. This is our future career. But we just had to kind of take a step back and make sure that we were acting in the best interest of those students. And so we're really grateful that we were able to set something up this semester for them to kind of still be in clinicals and then have that, you know, lab reliance as well.
And I'll echo my colleagues. We too have really done a great job with shifting and, you know, making sure that our students are still getting that hands-on experience. And we have also increased the number of classes that we are hosting at our partnered sites. So UNC Rex and Wake Med. So we're offering classes there on site that, you know, nurses can just kind of come down and, you know, do their classes right there on site. And so our program director has done a great job connecting with those influencers at the hospital to make sure that we can offer that as a space, you know, for nurses to really kind of meet them where they are and offer those classes there.
Shaniqua, thank you so much for that. Thank you, Jesse. We have a follow-up question related to that. Have you lowered the number of applicants you are accepting? And then separate from that, have you lowered class sizes? So Chanel, I'm gonna let you kick off, then Devaney, and then I will jump in.
Yes, so no, we have not decreased the amount of students that we accept. And our College of Health and Human Sciences just simply increases the amount of faculty that they have to keep the class sizes small. So we increase faculty, and then we also increase the amount of classes that we offer so that our class sizes can remain small. Thank you.
And at Queens, we haven't, I'll echo what Chanel said, we haven't reduced the number of applicants that we are accepting. I would say the only caveat to that is if we're at the total program max capacity with our accreditation, we can't obviously admit more students than we have maximum space capacity for. So we did admit a lower number this semester just due to being at that total program cap. With Queens, with us being a smaller private school, we do already have lower class sizes anywho. So it wasn't a hard shift for us to be able to do that here.
Thank you. I think, and for our nursing program, they have not lowered their class sizes at all. I think the same thing, they tried to increase faculty where they could. Again, using the benefits of the simulation lab that we have on campus, and they were able to make sure they were able to maintain the size. They were able to keep their class sizes small enough for social distancing, but they did not have to reduce any of the students. All right, we've got about 4 minutes to go before we're gonna have to shut off. I'm gonna stop the screen share so that we can all see each other. I think we had another question that was just coming in. Somebody's sitting in for their daughter. That is so kind of you. Hope she is working hard on something right now. Will I be able to make this available to watch at her convenience? Yes, this is going to be available on the CACRAO website. Our facilitator at the very end is going to come back and give us the specific details on exactly where you're going to be able to find it. So all of this is being recorded, and then it will be shared again so that people can collect it at their convenience. So yes, you are good to go there. Thank you. All right, we had another question that was over here on my other screen. And I know this one is going to be tricky, but we're going to try to field it. When should I apply to get into School of Nursing? I guess we'll go around. I'll start with Jesse on my screen, and then we'll go from there.
Essentially, we accept year-round for nursing. All of our nursing classes start in the fall, so you'll start in that cohort. However, there are 2 pre-nursing classes that are taught in the spring that students need to take if they haven't already. So essentially, year-round, being a small private, we do have some core classes that typically are remaining, so students can usually use a bridge semester to get in and get acquainted.
Devaney, you go next.
Right, so our applications for the fall and summer ABS, or so the the fall traditional BSN track and ABSN open both on December 7th. February 1st is the deadline for ABSN. March 1st is for the traditional BSN.
Chanel?
For ABSN, the application opens on August 1st and it closes on October 1st. They only admit students for the spring semester for ABSN. For our spring, if you're interested in just our pre-nursing program, the application opened August 1st and the deadline is December 15th. If you're interested in coming in the spring, if you're interested in coming in the fall, the deadline for scholarships is May 15th and the regular deadline is July 15th. So you should apply now.
Very good. Shaniqua?
Yes, so William Peace University has rolling admissions. So anytime is the best time to apply. And so for spring, we have 2 start dates for our RN to BSN track, and in the summer, we have 2 start dates. So just reach out to us if you're interested in starting in any one of those sessions, and we'll take care of you from there.
Fantastic. For UNC Greensboro, the RN to BSN students, you've already finished your associate's degree in nursing. You can start anytime, year round, fall, spring, or summer. We'll take you whenever. For students who are doing the pre-nursing and you're coming in with all the prerequisites that we talked about before, your window opens on December 1. The nursing application closes on February 1. They notify all the students by April 1. So if you can apply for traditional admissions and get admitted, then you can deal with nursing. You'll be applying for summer term. All of our pre-nursing students who met all the prereqs get their answers from nursing in April and then start classes that summer.
Great. Thank you all for joining us today, participants and presenters. Thank you so much. There will be a quick 4-question survey at the end of this for our participants to complete so that we know how to improve in the future. There was a question about, how can I show this to my daughter? There will be a recording available within a week's time on the CACRAO website, and that's going to be www.cacrao.org. And of course, if you are interested in signing up for more of these transfer sessions, you can go to that same website and find more information. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you all.